This is my third time writing this script, and I actually considered not even making this video because my conclusion always seems to come out way too negatively by the end. But I put over 30 hours into the game, so for the sake of me not going crazy that I just wasted my time, let's jump in, I guess. I knew very little about this game before I started playing. All I knew is that I got a review code for the game, saw that it was a Metroidvania, and said, why not? Boy, I had no idea what I was jumping into. But first, let's talk about how this game came to be. It was developed by Homunculus Games, a studio that was started by two brothers. And thanks to a successful Kickstarter campaign that managed to raise around $14,000. Now granted, that isn't much money for a game nowadays, but they did manage to reach their minimum stretch goal and actually finish development. So how was the finished product? Upon hitting start, you are launched into a tutorial level that explains the basics of the game pretty well. Rem, the main protagonist of this game, can run, jump, double jump, and parry. After moving around for a minute, you learn about the different weapons you will be able to use throughout your adventure. Weapons that include melee, long-ranged weapons, as well as different kinds of spells. After you fail at parrying a few times, you learn that this red potion over here is to restore your health. You can use it up to 3 times, and that's about it. Tutorial ends, and you are sent to the weakest part of this game, the story. You listen to a bunch of nonsense, after which you are sent to the Laboratory of Dreams. Okay, so that was rather harsh of me. But I mean, sure, there are people out there who will enjoy this type of vague storytelling. I can tell the kind of story the developer is going for, and I appreciate stories like this from time to time, but the game is over 20 hours long depending on the difficulty you choose. And that's just way too long for a story that just remains one note throughout the whole adventure, till the end of the game. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. Back to the hub world. The Laboratory of Dreams, getting there, you find out that you just completed the first world, and now you can move on to the second world, where you meet this king, who informs you that you need to go into the forest and fight Captain Kroig if you would want to be able to explore the cave that is just left of the town, because beating Captain Kroig unlocks the lightning glyph, which allows you to use these orbs that will turn you into a bolt of lightning, and with it you can not only progress but unlock shortcuts as well. Now this sounds great on paper, but the execution leaves a lot to be desired. Before we get into that, let's talk more about the combat, or more specifically how you acquire the different weapons in this game. The game uses a roguelike loot system. It states that it's similar to Dead Cells, a game that is on my list that I have not played yet, but I did however play The Binding of Isaac, a game that in my opinion does the whole roguelike thing the best, because despite relying on RNG, the game is still incredibly balanced. This game is not. Enemies in the game drop weapons as you defeat them. Sometimes the weapons are good, but most of the time they are just there so that you can break them and get money, so that you can either buy better gear or upgrade your gear. Okay, so here's my rant. Why is everything in this roguelike game so expensive to the point that the merchant doesn't even matter anymore? And, okay, you can find weapons of equal caliber in the world. So, merchant, why is your weapon 9,999? And B, when you die, you lose your money. And you have to go back to where you died to get the money, because Dark Souls was a thing, and every game now has to take something from Dark Souls and then implement it without even knowing why it worked in Dark Souls. Yay! I cannot believe the developers didn't notice this. Money is completely useless initially because you can only upgrade your weapons after you go to the spider's den, rescue this guy, which if this is your first time playing the game will take a while, and then, only then, are you finally able to get some upgrades. And until that point in the game, you better hope to God you don't lose your money. Which, speaking of that guy, we are now at one of my biggest problems with this game, the backtracking. Dear Lord, the backtracking. This has to be the worst thing about this game, because at this point in the game, you not only unlock the ability to upgrade your health and magic meter, thanks to the capsules you found while exploring the world, but you unlock the ability to warp back to the lab from any save box. However, can you switch between worlds when you do this? No! You have to backtrack, which is a problem because this game has over 7 worlds that are pretty decent in size. There are these travel boxes that you're supposed to use, but there's not nearly enough of them, and you can only use them to switch to another travel box in the same world. That also means if you find a glyph that will allow you to explore more of this game's world, you're gonna have to go back to the lab first to switch between worlds to explore them, which doesn't sound that bad, but good luck doing that over and over again until it takes you over 30 hours to beat this game. The infuriating part is that it took me 33 hours to beat the game, and I'm pretty sure 10 of those hours was just me backtracking. I have never felt like... I've never played a game this much, and I felt like I wasn't doing anything. Fix your leveling up system because it's useless as it stands. Bosses don't even give you experience points, and past level 20, the meter barely moves. And 2, for the love of God, enough with the backtracking. Allow us to go back to the lab and switch between worlds. None of that barrier bullshit you have in the lab where like, oh, you use the save box to go back to the lab? We're not gonna let you switch between worlds even though you're there. Fix that and allow us to store more than 3 weapons in the game's world instead of just 1, which is horseshit. And allow us to view the other maps, just view the other maps when we're in a different world so that I know if I explore that area yet or not. And for the love of God, the parry system. The parry system. Allow us to parry more enemies because as it stands, it's a useless system barring a few moments here and there. Okay, look, I know these changes will make the game a lot shorter, but hey, you mentioned Symphony of the Night in your Kickstarter, and that game isn't that long. People don't remember that game or love that game because of how long it is. Okay, so... Okay, so I'm gonna end on a positive note. Here are some things I liked about the game. The boss fights, aside from this bat thing, are all very well designed and fun to fight. They are the best thing about this game. And regarding the money, if a boss is too tough for you, die next to the door and you can just get your money back. And maybe try a different area instead. Other than that, for a game that's made by 2 people, it looks good. The different areas are very interesting to look at. The game is surprisingly stable. I only ran into a few glitches like this one right here when I tried to slide and when fighting this boss, which, hey, I'm not complaining. Anything to beat the game faster. Underneath everything, there is a good game in Endless Memories. I just think the developers need to make certain design changes to cut out the bullshit and make the good parts in this game shine. And with that being said, I'm gonna go play some Resident Evil. And yeah, for those of you who are watching, wherever you may be in this world, thank you guys for watching and stay alive until the next video. Take care.